when I was at the strip club. And I messaged the stripper that I previously knew. I don't know how to express that. Like, for us as the guys last night, we thought it was a fun time. I was very upset with myself.
The most familiar feeling which I ever felt. Jovi's behavior caused me shame and embarrassment. But I do feel ashamed about all of this. I just don't want for people to call me stupid because my husband liked to go to strip club and prefer some other woman.
What is going on, people? We are back again with another MovingMAD video. And you know what though? I like this one because we finally learned something new about Yara. And the reason I say this is because you see, something that we may have not touched on before on this channel, or at least on these relationships, is parental impact, cultural impact. Now, of course, we've touched on parental impact to a certain degree, as well as cultural impact to a certain degree, but we haven't touched on it in terms of how the family has impacted the actual child. Now, maybe we have in other areas, but now we're talking about an area where somebody is walking around with trauma of not feeling good enough, of not feeling that her appearance is going to be good enough ever because of pressure that has come from family and also culture. But we will get to that because later on, Yara will explain where all of this stems from, because at first, when I was doing this reaction on Patreon, I said to myself, hold on a minute. This woman loves the look way too much. She loves this idea of looking like Ken and Bobby way too much. She loves the appearance of them looking perfect all the time. But then she opened her mouth and finally opened up in a one-on-one session with the therapist and really told us why she feels ashamed, why she feels embarrassed with the fact that her husband still wants to continuously go to strip clubs. And you know what? Let's get it.
Perfect. If we don't present as a perfect family, then others are going to think these things and you should be ashamed of that kind of thing.
Yes. If you're in Ukraine, everything about you need to be perfect. My mom, for example, taught me that I was chunky. And my sister used to tell me when I'm going to have a kid, I'm going to be so big because that's my genetics.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that right there. Being told that you're going to become chunky once you have kids. Being body shamed by your family. Let's be real. Let's be real. When it comes to trauma, the trauma that sits with us the longest, in fact, the trauma that pretty much sets the foundation of how sensitive we're going to be about certain things, is always going to come from family more than anyone else. Why? Because our family is the first set of people that we love. We love unconditionally. So when they say things, it always cuts deep. Deep. And the only other time it can cut any deeper is if it ends up being with the person that you fall in love with. Okay? So I sit here and I said to myself, you know what? I feel so sorry for this woman. I feel so sorry for her. And it's a damn shame that she's never been to a point where she was able to actually open up about these things towards Jovi, because clearly Jovi wasn't aware of it. But this does not excuse his behavior. Don't get it twisted. It does not excuse his behavior one bit, because either way though, the fact that he was more than willing to go behind his wife's back, more than willing to continue doing this madness and calling allegedly, okay, this storyline of him calling the stripper, or messaging, shall I say, apparently it was just all a storyline, because the stripper has been found online and she denies having any type of communication with Jovi around the time of when this was filmed. So that is kind of annoying, because it kind of ruins the whole point of this. But I still want to stick to this point, because too many people come from backgrounds where their family put pressure on them in some format, where their family will discredit them in some format. And when that happens, it creates a trauma. And that's one of the hardest traumas that any one of us can actually really move on from. And that's why when we find someone, we need to find someone that can understand it and will try and nurture it and try and look after that part of us. They know it's a part of us that was absolutely, you see what I'm saying? But I will say this though, does she suffer with potentially body dysmorphia? It's a possibility, because we know that she's always looking to touch something up. She's always looking to improve something that involves her. But you know what though? Let's continue.
I need time to think about that. I'm really happy to talk to the PD and understanding that Jovi's behavior was caused me shame and embarrassment. PD reminded me that I don't deserve this, and we'll see if Jovi...
The phrase, I don't deserve this. You know, when somebody says that in a relationship, that's never a good thing. Never a good thing. You know, because that means your partner has failed to make you feel reassured. Now, there's a fine line when it comes to your partner has failed to make you feel reassured, because sometimes it's a matter where your partner has actually intentionally negatively actually failed. But then sometimes it's not necessarily a negative thing, because sometimes that person just not may be your person. Because I generally believe that in life, when you come across people, when you meet someone, if they're able to tap into a part of you that is sensitive and not trigger it, it tells me personally that that person has an energy that's never really going to touch that. But if they have the persona or energy that kind of touches that, not intentionally, it tells me that maybe that person is not actually my person, because there's something about them that cannot necessarily nurture that area, cannot necessarily look after that area. Now, of course, sometimes in life you can have that discussion and you can hope that person's going to change that, but that's the gamble that you're going to have to willingly take, right? Now, when it comes to Jovi and Yara, we are looking at a man that has been looked after by his mother for such a long time. She's given him a silver spoon. This guy is pretty much a princess, if anything, okay? We know he did the whole pageants and whatnot, and his mom never holds him accountable for anything. And even if she does it very lightly. So can we expect somebody who's never had to change because his life has always been given to him based on what we see by his own mother, can we expect him to really finally take in consideration what his woman has gone through? I don't think so. I don't think so in any kind of way. But either way, though, I don't blame Yara for not feeling appreciated. I don't blame her for feeling like she doesn't deserve this. Because at the end of the day, no one in any relationship should be in a relationship with somebody else that wants to go and, do you know what makes it worse? That wants to go and pay. Key point. That wants to go and pay to watch other women, or if it's a woman, to go pay other men to dance. Can we just let that sink in? Imagine that, being with someone that wants to splash the cash that they could be using to your family home, to your child, to yourself, which obviously I know he does anyway. But my point is, just imagine you got a woman that you can just touch, be around, all them kind of things. But yet you want to go and pay to be around strippers. You know, when you're trying to make sense out of life. And this is one of those moments when you simply cannot. But we continue.
About myself because you're choosing to go watch another woman than watch your woman and spend time with her. I think I am not a freaking ugly waiting for you at home.
You're perfect, and it's not about you, and I want you to know that.
It does hurt me. I tell you about my insecurities. I'm so freaking insecure about my body. I do not like my body. You see how much freaking I am like obsessed with go to the gym and go to stuff and look good and all that stuff. So
I didn't understand that you felt that way. If I would have understood that, maybe I could have done a better job of not doing things that hurt you, okay? So if you don't want me to do that and you're expressing your emotions to me.
Yara didn't like me going to strip clubs, but I thought that she was just being a protective wife. I didn't know that going to strip clubs was causing her to feel more insecure.
I'll keep this one a buck. I'll keep this simple, man. Listen, the fact that he thought that he was just being a protective wife, that's crazy, bro. That is crazy. Her not wanting you to go and pay to see other women has nothing to do with being protective. I mean, maybe a part of it does, maybe. But you know how insecure she is. She doesn't stop talking about it. And clearly she doesn't stop showing it because she's always working hard and doing all sorts of things to herself and all them kind of stuff. I think it is quite evidence that you're with someone that is insecure and somebody that needs that reassurance all the time, which is probably why throughout the season she spoke about how she would appreciate cuddles before intimacy, but at least it would make her feel wanted. But Jovi doesn't really care to notice what Yara wants. He only cares about what he wants. That's probably because he brings the bread to the table, so therefore he believes he has the power. You never know what goes through that guy's head, but let's not forget though, from the very beginning of this relationship, Jovi was never really invested in actually being with Yara. It wasn't until the baby come along, and then that's when things changed. And he has said that multiple times. But hey, we continue.
Obviously, our marriage is much more important than that.
could you keep a promise or you just say that? Because the promise, I can promise you anything. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it.
Okay.
You tell me this, you tell me all the time something. And doesn't mean that this is happening. And you see, this is the problem too. Because you're dropping the promises, which sometimes you can't hold it. Now we come to this point in a relationship when I not be able to trust you. I will want to check your phone. I will want to know where you go, with who you are and all that stuff. The psychopathic relationship.
This is why trust should never be broken in a relationship, because once trust is broken, 100%, and I like the fact that she voiced that bit. I like the fact that she even acknowledged that that is where we would go. You know, I don't know if I can trust you. Yes, you can make me promises, but you made me promises before and you broke them. So now I'm in a position where I feel like I may have to check your phone and stuff. And that is a psychopathic relationship, 100%. I like the fact that that was pointed out, you know, because that means she doesn't want to be that person. And it also means that she's not that type of person. which is brilliant stuff. You know what I mean? Because a lot of other people, they wouldn't say that. They would just become that psychopathic person, and then you end up having that unstable relationship, and then boom, it goes complete south. The question is, how do you recover from this? Like I said before, and I've always said before, once trust has been broken in a relationship, the relationship is done. Just walk away. I've been there myself before. Once the trust has been done, no, it's draining. It's absolutely draining. And it's no fun either way. It is no fun on either way, without a shadow of a doubt. But you let me know what you're thinking. We can talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.